You don't question why a fireman is a fireman, do you know? You just don't. You know exactly why they are. They're not doing it for the money. They can't be. They're not by nature paid enough. They're doing it from a very deep, heartfelt place.
Do you know why Daddy's getting an award today?
For saving a man.
That's my 3 girls. They like a man in a uniform.
Hello.
I'm receiving an award at our awards presentation today. We do this once a year for guys that have done heroic acts. I'm not sure I'd call myself or any other fireman a hero. That's a pretty strong word to use. That looks good. Maybe I'll just let you wear that. Come on, that's good.
I know we're all here.
You feel really proud of your guys and yourself, and we're pretty excited about getting our award today.
And my father put 36 years in the fire department. And when I was a little kid, he didn't talk about it, you know. We didn't hear all the stories, but I knew. I knew my dad was a fireman. And to me, I was proud of it.
My dad was a firefighter for 40 years in Baltimore City. My grandfather was a firefighter, so I'm 3rd generation.
My dad was a really good fireman, I hear. You know, he was well known and very much respected.
You're at school, parent day, you know. My dad's a fireman. I love to say that.
Once my brother got in there, he realized that he had that tradition to follow up on, and I did the same. And my brother and I almost compete about who's the better fireman.
I'm sure my dad went to the firehouse with my grandfather. Probably thought it was just as cool as I thought it was going down to my dad's firehouse.
It's a legacy to follow. We're following great men. We can try to walk in their shoes, and hopefully we can leave shoes for the people behind us to walk in.
All right, guys, we gotta get ready to go to Medals Day ceremony.
I love my job with all my heart. You get to help people every day you're out there, whether it's for cutting people out of a car, to saving somebody from a burning building, to putting a Band-Aid on a little girl that skinned her knee.
Are you ready yet, Daddy?
Almost.
You look handsome.
Thank you.
My daughter Rachel, being almost 4, still asks sometimes when we call Daddy to say goodnight if he's not available at the firehouse. She wonders if he's safe. And I just tell her, you know, it's his job. This is what Daddy does, and he is helping people.
Just a smile. Back when I was at Truck Company 13, they sent out 1 engine and 1 truck on the investigation of a fire, and when we pulled up, we had heavy smoke coming out from the 2nd and 3rd floor. The stepman and I proceeded up the ladder, searched around the 3rd floor, and ended up finding a homeless person that was squatting in the dwelling, and unconscious, proceeded to bring him down the ladder.
Are you ready? Let's go.
There's definitely pride going to Medals Day. It feels good knowing that somebody else has recognized you have gone above and beyond the call of duty.
Every day you come in, it's something different. You know, it's not like a 9-to-5 job where you're doing the same thing over and over again. Each call is different than the next. But I think if you polled the whole fire department, 99% of the guys would say that they're happy where they're at.
They're a tight group, and I think working in this job, you have to be. They spend more time here together than they do their families.
Rack them up. Uh-huh. I'm just getting started now.
You're a team. You know, you work together. And just knowing that the people that you work with are willing to put their lives on the line for you, and you know you do the same for them, how can you not have camaraderie?
That's my boy right there, look at that.
Yeah! It's called Bob Hope Shot.
Bob Hope Shot.
Yeah. You shoot the ball and hope it go in.
It's a totally different atmosphere living in a firehouse. We laugh, we cry, we bleed together.
You see so much tragedy, and you can't do it for a job and do it really well just for a paycheck.
Right,
you have to have it in you to really want to do the job.
You also get kind of immune to it, and you forget it because you've seen it so much. And we deal with emotions through humor.
There he is, look.
Guys are cut-ups, man. They will go to no end to mess with you.
Everything from putting saran wrap across the toilet bowls to putting flour in your beds at night.
Fake rubber bugs on your food.
Or when you're in one of the stalls, they'll pour a bucket of water over the top.
We have quite a bit of time on our hands to figure out stuff to do to each other.
But when a gong goes off and it's a report of fire, it's amazing to me that, you know, it all stops right there.
That's us. 5 in. #2127 East Pratt. At the firehouse today, a lot of the talk was about some of the practical jokes that were pulled on guys over the years. Dad was at a house 51 engine. Those guys were notorious.
Oh, yeah. We had a fella there named Mario. He would be out in the yard cutting the grass, and I'd be up on a tower where we hung the hose with a bucket of water. I'm trying to get the bucket up on a windowsill so I could pour it on him. And a couple drops come out and come down and hit him on the arm. And he turns around, he looks at the engine house, he says, "Hey, Luke, you better put the covers on the engine. It's starting to rain." And when he said that, I let it go.
The firefighter family is equally as brave. I mean, I could start crying right now, imagining what the wives and children go through when their daddy goes to work or their mommy goes to work, not knowing if they could not come back, you know. And so they are all brave soldiers.
When you're away from your wife and your family, and you realize that any minute you could be out that door and in danger and something can happen to you, it's very stressful leaving the house and going to work.
You get to where you don't think about that part of it. It's just becomes routine. That's the job that he does, and you just can't think about what could happen.
You have to suppress a lot of things. I mean, you see a lot of things that a lot of people may not be able to handle, and you have to, the best way is to talk about it, but sometimes you just have to suppress it because you don't want to go home and expose that to your family.
I learned a long time ago not to tell my wife everything that I do.
He knew when to draw the line. When he would come home and tell me something that had happened, he knows what to tell me, not to tell me. And I basically wanted it to be that way.
There's times where, you know, you're in the building and you're thinking, if my wife ever knew I was doing this, she'd kill me.
I don't like the idea that he's going out and risking his life. It scares me because, you know, all I think about is the worst. But this is what he wants to do. So, you know, I give him all the support in the world.
She has told me she worries when the phone rings late at night. You know, so I try not to call after midnight. That's not a good idea.
I never get off the phone without saying, take care of yourself, I love you. Because you just never know what's going to happen.
Wow. Cannoli cake. When you have children of your own, it's probably the worst possible thing that can happen to you is going into a fire and having children get injured or having casualties with children.
We rescued 3 babies out of this house on New Year's Day. It was burning really good, and you know, the first floor, there was no way to get in the front, and we ended up in the rear, and we got all 3 of them out. And I've been involved in quite a few rescues, but that's one that really stood out. And knowing that we went that far and still did that job made us feel good.
That's got that batter right in the belly. Give me the heat. Oh, yes.
When we can help them, that's fantastic, but when it goes the other way, it's really hard to deal with. Probably the hardest thing I ever did was when my daughter was 3 years old, I carried a little girl that was 3 years old, dying in my arms.
I want to thank you for your distinguished service. This is about you. This medal ceremony is about each and every one of you and the sacrifice that you and your families make to keep all of us safe in the city of Baltimore each and every day.
It's not a job, it's a passion. A passion not to do things right, but to always do the right thing.
Commendations are being awarded to Lieutenant Donald Schaefer.
This particular incident, we had a fire this past winter in a big 3-story dwelling. We made our way up to the second floor, crawled about 3 or 4 feet, and the gentleman was laying there. Arms were burnt up pretty bad, and the side of his face, and he was non-breathing, no pulse. So we quickly picked him up and carried him down a few flights of steps. CPR was performed on him immediately. By the time they got him out to the medic unit, we had a pulse and he was breathing. And the medic unit said that when they got to the hospital, he was actually talking. It was just an incredible feeling, you know, it's nothing like it.
I can't imagine what that feels like. To be able to do something like that must be incredible, to know that you saved someone's life. And he's the reason that man's alive today.
Would you please join me in a round of applause for these heroes?
We love you so deeply and respect you, and I think we only reflect the rest of the country and the world how we all feel about the firefighters. And again, we were just actors and directors trying to get it right, but you are the real thing, getting it right every day. So from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you.
We always come, no matter what happens. When you dial 911, we're gonna be there.
It's so much fun going into work. You know, I'm sure most guys will tell you that. They look forward, you know, they love what they're doing and love going into the job.
I can't see doing anything different. It's the most fulfilling job. I love it.
I know he's very cautious. I know that they all are very cautious when they go out there and run into buildings and do what they have to do. So I trust that he'll take very good care of himself and help his brothers as well, like they would do for him.
The fires, they're never going to stop. I think a lot of people just have that "it's never going to happen to me" feeling. I'm careful, you know, it's, you know, and it won't happen to us, but it does.
We just like thank you once in a while, you know, and I think a lot since 9/11 you're seeing it more, which is unfortunate that that had to bring it about, but you get waves and nods and a lot of thank yous nowadays, and you're doing a good job, and that goes a long way, you know, that does go a long way.
You don't have to question, you know, what you're on this planet for. You're here to be a firefighter, you know. You're here to help make a difference, you know, no matter how big or small, and it's important, and that's why we keep going.
Bottom line, man is only alive as much as he can help someone. He's only as valuable as much as he can help somebody. And that's what these guys are all about.